I hope you're having an amazing day. So this video that you're about to watch is a live recorded reading. And it's not just any reading, it's an Akashic Charm reading. These are readings that I created in the Akashic Records. And just a smidge about that is I really wanted to bring forward something more fun that could be more playful, more explorative, and really just, bringing in the seasons. And it's turning out to where this is actually going to be something that I continue to do, at least feels that way. So anyway, I channeled all of this information in the Akashic Records, and it's to serve you. It's to bring joy and again, that explorative nature, that childlike wonder and whimsy. It's just a really fun and unique way to experience a reading. And what happens is, so I created this map in the Akashic Records. This one in particular is spooky season based, and so there's some like Halloween and Samhain symbols, different things like that. And each symbol on the map means something. And I also have these cute little charms, like the sun, for example, or this dragon, just little charms. There's nine because we're in the year of nine, the year of completion. Um, and each of these charms means something too. And so when a charm lands on a particular part of the map, it can indicate a lot of different things, based on the charms and the map itself, but also the person receiving. And so I the other day was like, this is kind of unique. Not a lot of people may have familiarity with this. And so I was in the Akashic Records and I was asking, what's a fun way that I could showcase this, to really remove any barrier to entry that, may seem just the unknown, because people tend to fear the unknown type of thing. And so, and it's already, it can be difficult to invest in oneself. And so I wanted to remove as many barriers as I could and help you to really, know whether or not this is for you or not. And so when I was asking my guardians, how I could showcase this, I was given little breadcrumbs that eventually led to doing a live reading, and not just with anyone in particular, but with Vanessa Lake, who is an amazing, amazing person. And she shares about herself in the beginning of the video, so I'll leave that. But I just wanted to do a little bit of a prelude so you could kind of understand what this is for. And what's really amazing is if you were led to this video, that means there's something in it for you, even if it's just watching the reading itself, because you may have a lot of things that resonate with where Vanessa's at and with what she's going through. And there were quite a few people that were on the live that were sharing their different things and how it resonated with them too. And so, just because a reading is specifically for this person doesn't mean you're not going to get a bunch out of it, because you totally still could. And so there's a little bit of love exploration. There's a lot of self-exploration. There's a lot of inner body work that comes up. We all have these internal bodies that very much make up how we operate in our day-to-day lives. For example, you've got six main ones. There are much more than that, of course, but you've got your inner child, your ego, your spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional bodies as being the six, the main six. And why this is important is it comes up a lot in this video, so I just wanted to share a little bit about that, because having just a little bit of understanding might help, because we've been working together for a while. So um, there's certain things that come up that we end up explaining because it's related to something or what have you. But anyway, my point in sharing about the bodies is it's a really important part of healing, actually, to do inner body work, to work with yourself internally in this way. And I found it actually makes it a lot easier when there's a sense of personification with these internal aspects, because you can have conversations with yourself in that way, with these parts that didn't get to express whatever they needed to in the moment, which is where a lot of these internal bodies come from, is the wounded self. Doesn't mean that they can't, operate in your up-to-dateness, because a lot of the time they're coming from the past, so that's why I phrased it that way. They can integrate, and that's a part of healing, is having these internal selves integrate and become, a part of your current reality, so that they are no longer coming from your past self, so that they're no longer getting triggered by things that, um, happened before, but in the current moment are coming forward to be acknowledged, healed, fill in the blank with any part of that process. And so these internal bodies are absolutely, in my personal and professional opinion, necessary for healing. You may or may not agree, and that's fine. Just in my personal experience and again, professional experience, having these bodies to work with, it's literally like life-changing in the most healing and beautiful ways. And you get to know yourself in a really grounded and personal, like this is a word that keeps coming up, grounded and personal way, like very personalized to you and your experience. And so I'll stop talking about them, but they are an important part of healing. And so it was just something that was important to come up and just kind of give a little bit of a foundation for. So, yeah, I think that's about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments, send me a message. You can find me on most social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So yeah, and I am Angel Light Energy in all of those as well. So, on that note, I hope you enjoy. Okay, official hello, welcome. This is the beautiful Vanessa Lake. If you would like to share about yourself at all, just a little bit.
I'm Vanessa Lake. I'm a mental health therapist and spiritual practitioner. I combine the two in the practices that I do. I'm an author. I wrote a book. You can find it on Amazon. Stop Letting the Job Become Your Life. And
Don't mind just breaking stuff trying to get your book.
oh, I didn't even have a copy of my own book handy. I was like, oh, okay, like whatever.
Well, I do.
But yes,
It's
I wrote a
backwards.
book. It's all things for trauma, mental health, a lot of skills in there. And yes, I include the energetic spiritual skills as well. So helpful for more than just officers. And I launched my spiritual business, Finding Your Inner Sensei, where I help people find their own answers within and empower them. I do Akashic Records. I do Reiki energy healing, Akashic healing. Most of what I do is in the Akashic Records, as well as Angel. We have that in common. So yeah, you can always check that out if you're curious about the things that I do.
Yay. And did you mention your website?
Oh yeah, www.yourinnersensei.com.
And it's amazing. You should check it out.
Lots of free resources and my YouTube channel where I post videos all the time. Again, giving you the tools and skills that you don't need to rely on anyone else. You can do things yourself, trust your intuition. But if you need a little extra, that's what I'm here for.
Love it. I just burped for you. Oh, I had to replace my necklace thing, so it's a lot longer. I'm used to being up here. So anyway, just a random thing I noticed. And for those of you that might be new to me too, I am Angel of Angel Light Energy. I do a lot of different things with the Akashic Records. Like this session today is a totally new way to experience a reading. And it's called Akashic Charm Readings. And basically, I have charms. They mean things. And then I drew this really cute little pumpkin map that has a lot of symbols on it, and they also mean things. And so when a charm lands in a particular place, it creates your soul story. And I have the Akashic Records open, and whatever evolves from this is magic. Like I've recorded a few of them so far, and I've just been getting so much more coming out of them than I expected. So, I anticipated like 30, 45 minutes, hour and a half. I should have known better. But there's 9 charms for the year of 9, the year of completion, and it's about, showing where you've been and where you're going. And so, yeah, lots of fun stuff. I also play with light language and frequency art, which Vanessa's also experienced that. Uh,
And I highly recommend it. My guides told me to continue to watch it on each full moon for the next 12 months. So although I had one reading, it is something that each time I do it, I get new downloads, head tingles. So downloads coming through and new perspective. And they actually have me watch it in different ways. So sometimes I watch it sideways because different images come through when the picture is sideways versus actually upright, which I did not know that was a thing, but total different messages, different frequency comes through when I just move my screen and make it like different or upside down. And it's an ongoing reading each time versus just the one and done. So very helpful.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. Also play with Akashic Oracle and what else do we do? Angelic healings, things like that. So same here, like I'm here to empower you. We're here to empower you. And so if you resonate with either of us, we would love to work with you or both of us. Ooh, you tag team it. We'll tag team your healing. How about that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right. So are you ready, Vanessa?
Yes.
Cleansed it, but I'm just gonna double cleanse it. Okay. And if the charms fall off, like if they fly off, then they get to be rethrown. Sometimes they need that double, like that one. Your key needs to be rethrown. And you will get a picture of this as well. And I'm actually going to take a picture. Oh, hi, Vicky. So glad you're here. Just let me take a picture in case I bump it. All right. And what's really fun too is a charm. Some of these charms are a little bit bigger, so they can actually land in more than one space. And then when they do that, that means that they're bringing in additional things. And then there's a couple of different moving parts to this, so I want to make sure I have my notes up in case. Da, da, da. Wherever that went. Oh, literally right there. Okay. Okay, there will be a moment where I just need to write it down because looking at it here is one thing, but looking at it here, it helps me simplify it. And so I'm feeling guided to tell you to just share something that you feel is going to be helpful for the collective as I do this. I didn't prompt you for this at all. I'm sorry.
What would be helpful to the collective? Well, today is the new moon in Libra, so
Yes,
that's big
I was.
news.
Yes, I thought that was very interesting. Oh, and today's the last day for your special too, isn't it?
Yes,
Or tomorrow?
actually. So,
Today or tomorrow?
well, tomorrow, technically tomorrow, because it was for Libra season, which we're about to end. So for Libra season, Libra all about balance, relationships, harmony. Often we are out of balance ourselves. And so I created a soul healing bundle in which I use the Akashic records to find the root lifetime, the root cause of your current biggest struggle. I then do soul grid healing through the Akashic records. It's basically like healing a bruise now from something that happened 300 years ago, like a past life. And then I seal it all in with Akashic Reiki. So you will, feel that healing energy. I put that all bundled together for Libra season. Again, you can go to my website, you can check it out, or any of my social media pages and see that because tomorrow is the last day for that. And then I have a new special starting for Scorpio season, which is all about going to the depths, the shadow work, but it's also spooky season with Halloween. And so in order to not have spooky energy, I'm going to be doing a special for land and space clearing because you don't want your actual energy to be spooky and creepy for any of that dark stuff. So I'll be doing a special on that. And as of right now, we have new moon in Libra today. And that is about, relationships, harmony. So Angel and I are harmonizing our relationship with this, very good balance here in the different energies that we both offer. And With the new moon setting intentions, you're looking at Libra, which is the air energy, and tomorrow Scorpio, which is a water emotional energy. So it's really about balancing the mental with the emotional, your head and your heart. And I think most people struggle with that. You know, their mental body is usually stronger. It talks them out of their intuition, it talks them out of their emotions or their emotional needs. I know for me, my mental body often talks me out of the rest and the play. And it says I have to do my to-do list and I have to work and I have to earn the ability to rest, or I have to do a bunch of stuff before I can allow myself to have fun. I don't schedule that in there. So also why my guides tell me I needed to have this reading, because it's supposed to be fun and the charms and, you know, inner child and playful. And healing work is not just, you know, Scorpio shadow, darkness, you know, what are you letting die to rebirth stuff. It's also about releasing the blocks to the things that bring you joy and happiness. A lot of our shadow work is that we don't let our inner child out. We don't let play and fun come along. Again, too much adulting and too much mental body to-do list, obligations, tasks, all that stuff. So for the new moon, set the intention to balance those two. And then as you enter Scorpio season starting tomorrow, the energy supports shadow work, and you'll actually feel less resistance to looking at some of those darker sides that we hide about ourselves. The things that we're like, ooh, you know, I'm kind of ashamed of that, or, you know, I'm not proud of those behaviors or things, you know, addictions. And yes, workaholic is an addiction. You know, being addicted to productivity, proving your worth through how much you accomplish. So that's also, you know, an addiction that, again, letting it, you know, die. Scorpio is all about death, and we need to have death in order for new things to grow. We're coming into that with the fall season. You know, leaves are falling off and letting go, and it's a great time to also let go and see what that looks like. And I have lots of videos on my YouTube channel about, you know, addressing the darkness, the shadow work, because a lot of people misunderstand the shadow work is just, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, face all my darkness and not, you know, wallow in it. And it's not about wallowing. Even the Akashic work, looking at past lives, it's not just focusing on your trauma lifetimes. Yes, we need to heal those. We need to release the blocks and limitations, but it's also looking at the lifetimes where we had fun and joy. You know, I did a reading recently and found somebody that they were, you know, a painter, and they truly enjoyed painting, and they were very artsy. And, you know, I shared that with them, and they're like, yeah, I mean, I thought about that when I was a kid, but it wouldn't pay the bills. It's not, you know, a lifestyle you can have. And so they just let it fall away. And they were being called to bring that back in, even if it's not about making money and looking productive. Is it fun? Does it light you up? You know, because we need to have more of that balance, you know, especially that Libra new moon. How do you balance the fun and the play with, yeah, we got to work. For me, I scheduled a time Sunday morning, just spent an hour and went bowling. My inner child loved it. My physical body, not so much, but my inner child absolutely loved the bowling. Yeah, it took me a week to recover. My muscles hurt so bad. I've been a year since I went bowling, so I'm very much out of practice. But I had fun, and I literally played by myself against myself. It was just, there's no real competition. Nobody I was impressing. It was, you know, no pressure. It was just fun. And actually, fun story, the very next day, somebody bought my, you know, soul healing bundle. So despite, you know, the idea that you need to show up and pressure and force these things, sometimes just having fun is the frequency that attracts more fun. And the work that I do spiritually, it's fun for me. Doing these readings, seeing people's past lives, helping them heal, especially because my guides give me so many like fun metaphors. I had one just that I, you know, did over this weekend, and I removed, you know, a stone from her kidney. I mean, again, this is metaphor. You know, it was a heavy weight and everything. And they had me put a jelly bean in place. A nice blue jelly bean. Like, you can't get more playful than that. I'm like, oh, your soul grid needs healing. What do you need? Oh, you need a blue jelly bean. Like, that's just fun, you know? And again, because she was taking things so, you know, heavy and serious and being weighed down by other people's responsibilities, they were telling her, like, lighten the hell up, you know, get a jelly bean.
I love that. It's so funny because as I'm writing down the different charms that were coming forward for you, it's resonating with what you're sharing in
Which is
so
why they
many
say
different ways.
just talk and see what comes through.
Exactly. And I'm just, oh, no. Sorry. I was trying to bring the live back up on my phone to make sure I wasn't missing any comments. Um, okay, would love this. Hi, Tina. Glad to yeah, I'm so glad you guys are here too, both Tina and Vicky. And anybody else that's here, I don't know. I'm gonna be going back and forth between my notes and the screen, so sorry if I missed any comments. But thank you so much, Vanessa. That was very helpful for so many of us because we're all going through it, right? And so, just so you can get a little bit of an idea, I was just going to bring up, let's see how well this shows up on the screen. Just the picture of your pumpkin with the charms on it. Do I need to, yeah, I need to lower the light just a bit. No, no, stop that. This other thing came up. I'm like, no, I don't need you. Thank you, though. Appreciate you. There we go. There we go. You can kind of see, oh, it wants to zoom in on my face. You can kind of see the like bronzy part of the picture. The
Yep.
picture itself is much clearer than that, well, actually, I could do this, make it a little bit bigger. That might help. There we go. Yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's way better. Okay, so that's kind of what it
Okay,
looks like.
okay.
And if you notice, you got this little pentacle here in four
Yeah,
spaces.
I saw it was like right on.
It is. It's right in between. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I get this down? Oh my God, that's so funny. But yeah, no, I am so excited for these readings, guys. Like they are so much fun to facilitate. So I'm just really excited for you guys to experience it, especially with someone as bright and vivacious as Vanessa. And so I'm gonna be going back and forth between a couple of different things. By the way, when I'm recording yours, I will pause it when I'm writing all of this down, so you're not just watching me write for 5 minutes. Um, so let's get started. And I'm being told yours is a little bit different, shocker. Um, yeah, they want me to zigzag a little bit more than they did with the other ones that I've done. So we're gonna start with the sun. The sun charm, just referencing my notes because there's so many different moving parts here. The sun charm is about shining brightly on, something to bring light to or be in the sun about. It's really about bringing that warmth, that brightness to it, or shining a light on something that you might not want to shine a light on. Totally dependent on the thing. But your sun is in 3. We're going to start with the ghost. Your sun landed in the ghost, and the ghost is all about ancestor connections and loved ones, which is hilarious since you are a medium, and that is what you do.
Yeah. And I cross stuck spirits.
Yeah.
So very much about if the ghost hasn't moved on, then as a therapist, I go in with the Akashic records and do therapy with a spirit to help them cross. That's a very big part of what I do because I just had to do that with a friend that died entirely too soon. So very, very sad, but
Yeah.
able to help. And so that makes me feel good that I was able to help them even after the physical life.
Yeah. And that really is an important piece that we tend to forget about. And yeah, there are instances where it may be something more personal or what have you, but a lot of the time we don't know how to handle that kind of a thing. And we just know that the energy doesn't feel complete is the word that I'm getting. There's not like that closure there. And so what I'm finding important to bring up too is it's not always just about the spirit that hasn't crossed over. It's about the connections in their life. And so, the people that are still here having that solace, that experience of learning about what it was that kept them here, because sometimes we need that information too, so we don't do that. Because usually it's a trait or something that would likely have been passed on in one way, form, or another. And which brings me to the next part too. And I'm gonna, this reading is a bit of like unveiling pieces and then coming back and bringing them all together. So we're gonna do that kind of wave motion,
Okay.
which is hilarious. And I didn't, sorry, I had a conversation with my friend Dawn and she was talking about this, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's that. So your sun is also on the zombie, which is past lives coming forward, being like resurrected from the dirt, so to speak. And then it's also on, you're gonna laugh, the salt bath, which means rest and relaxation. And so tying all of those 3 things together, these ancestors, these loved ones, these past life connections, and this rest. There's a lot of ways to take that. And I'm seeing two as like the main places to go. One of which your physicality. We talk about this all the time. Rest is so important. And a little later, and I'm just getting told to go ahead and hint at this, a little later in the reading, there's going to be some mental space things that come forward. And
I'm
as
not
soon as
surprised.
I'm not either. As soon as these charms landed, I'm like, yeah, this is Vanessa's reading. If I had any doubt, I don't anymore. Um, and so just want to make sure I'm going, oh, geez. My phone just keeps kicking out of the live when I would just like to see the, okay, comments. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So again, we've got this ghost and zombie and the salt bath. And so within the physical experience that you are having, of course, there is more space for rest and redefining what rest even means. Because it's not just rest, it's relaxation. And it's a salt bath because that's like some of the epitome of what rest and relaxation looks like, but it's different for everybody. So yes, the bowling was an activity. Yes, the intention was fun, but there was also a relaxation quality to it in the sense of, you know, taking yourself away from all of this mental space, all of the things that are accumulating and building up throughout the week, just to go have some fun. Even in fun is relaxation. And so it's about opening the definitions, these heart set definitions that we have around particular things, that's going to assist you in okay, they want me to just kind of stop that sentence because they're bringing me into this one thing. So something that I experienced was or I should say have experienced multiple times, has been this thing where I don't think I'm doing something that I want to be doing. And then I'm told to take a step back and actually reflect on what I'm doing and realizing, oh, I actually am doing that here and here and over there. I just didn't realize that I was actually doing it because it showed up in different ways than I was anticipating. And so sometimes we're doing a lot more than we even think we are. And for you, Vanessa, that's like times 100 because you're already doing so much.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's an opportunity to take a step back and just reflect on how much you really have done and the incredible leaps that you have taken in the last 9-10 months.
This year has been wow.
Yeah, like so earlier this year I had a membership that was going on for what, like 6 months, something like that. And Vanessa was my star person that was there. And so we would just go on these like tangents for like hours. And it was just fascinating what would come up and just how things have grown since then, since all of that buildup of energy, of that creation, of that exploration and everything. It is just fascinating to see how far you really have come. And so that's one of the things that they're wanting to shine a light on is recognizing, you know, we're in this space of fall, we're starting to slow down. They really want all of us, this is a lot of why this call today is happening is because the messages that are here for Vanessa are also messages for a lot of you. And that's going to be the case a lot of the time anyway, just because if you are in this space, we're in the same collective. And so you're going to be able to take many, many things from someone else's experience too, just because we have so much in common. Now, maybe not everything, but that's why you take what resonates and leave the rest. And who knows, maybe at some point in the near future, it will suddenly resonate. It could have been a seed. And
As a
so,
therapist, I will tell you, most people do not rest enough. They push through their emotional needs. They ignore them, they numb them, they suppress them. So it is a very common thing for most people. And even as a therapist, I still do it to myself sometimes. I have to check myself and say, wait, what am I doing? Like, am I actually listening to my emotional needs or my physical needs to rest, and not beat myself up when I rest and say, well, I'm resting, I must be lazy or not productive, or what does this look like?
yep, which brings me to the next charm, which is the heart on the moon. The heart charm is about a lot of love here, or a lot of love wanted here, and with it landing on the moon, it's your emotional state. It was just the perfect segue. Like, and you just opened it up. I'm like, oh, well, that's where we're going next. Which is just so powerful. And you are already in tune with your reading, which is so cool. And so again, shining this love, this heart on your emotions. I'm being guided to ask you where, and this you can ask or answer this here if you want, or just write down the question. It's just kind of again, an evaluation of sorts, not a judgmental one, just a completely judgment-free evaluation of where have you not been supporting yourself emotionally? Where could you bring more love in? And on the flip side, where have you been bringing the love in? Where have you been showing up for yourself in ways that your inner child is just so excited about? And I just saw your bowling, I think, as a great example. Things that you're doing for yourself now that you maybe never have before, and maybe never even considered before. And then additionally, just moving to the next year, where can you do that more, or in what other ways sound fun? And this is a great thing to bring your inner child forward with, to help you answer some of these questions, because they can help you remember your dreams, remember the things that you wanted to do as a kid and just never had the ability or capacity for, but now as an adult, you're your own power. You're powerful as a kid too, but you got parents or guardians or whatever, so there are some limitations, whereas an adult, there's limitations, but most of them you can figure out
There's
through.
a lot more freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, owning my own businesses, I am my own boss. I can take time off when I want to. I can schedule however I want to, so it works for me and stuff. Um, I feel like I know what they're talking about as far as the emotional state, because it's really about, I'm doing one, my mental body never lets me see what I've already done. Like, it's hard. I've got to make time to reflect on what I've actually accomplished and done, and give myself kudos for that. And I think my mental body's always like, okay, you did that fine, but what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Now, yeah, you got that done. And now what? Like, so my mental body is very dismissive of. So
Yeah.
being able to truly sit with the heart and feel into, I did the thing. Like, I made a sale. I helped somebody. Like, I got a new client. Like any of that fun. Like, I went bowling. Like, I read a fantasy book all in one day, which I never make time for. And I did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I read an entire book in one day and I couldn't put it down. It was fun and exciting and it was great. But not, acknowledging that and really feeling into the excitement of that, or the pride of that, or just the good job, for doing that, that has a lot the same value as the to-do list, the work, the, adulting stuff. But as far as the emotional state, what I feel is coming up, because I've been having a lot of more dreams lately of very attractive men. I think it's time I need to, the emotional state of connection, truly partnership, friendship, romance, whatever that looks like. I think I'm done with the hermit phase of my life, and it's time to allow my emotions to say, I want to be with somebody. I want to go have coffee with somebody. I want to bowl with somebody. I want to do these things with somebody. And I haven't, and I knew I needed to build my foundation, and I had to do some inner work, as we all do, and then get ready for, being my authentic self without, trying to find myself and all that. But I think that's one of the things coming through. It's time. Like, emotionally, if you feel like you want to be with people, then maybe you should go out and be with people instead of just, staying home all the time or hiding or just working. Like, oh, the only people I interact with are my clients. Like, no, time for like, I want more than that.
Yeah.
And then, obviously taking the steps to, call that in and, show up going out in public where you might, meet somebody and, have something in common and things like that. So I do believe I'm done neglecting that. And if my emotions say I want people, friends, dating relationships, that fun, that it's time.
I love that. I'm excited for you.
Well, if he's anything like my dreams, he's very attractive and a good dancer. Okay.
And there's, okay, just some Akashic things. Filtering through, of course. I just saw you making a list of all of the qualities that you want, embodied by the person that is most aligned, and then checking yourself to see if you also check those boxes. Um, I've heard that before too, but they just kind of reminded me to remind you of that because I'm sure you've heard that too, but it could
Well,
be.
and it makes sense because one of the things is I want somebody who, does things. I'm such an introvert, I could stay home all day. I want somebody who does something, but then it's like, okay, if I want somebody who does that, I also have to be willing to be that person that gets out and does that because that's probably where I'm going to meet them, not in my home reading a book. As fun as that is, if I truly want the other piece of meeting people, then I actually have to leave my house to do so. So, yeah.
Just little things. Oh, hi, Colleen. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome. We are in the middle of the chart reading. So I love that. Love how that developed. Which one are we going to next? Okay, they just directed me toward the magic wand, or when I initially wrote down the, channeled all the information, it was fairy wand. So whichever feels better to you. The magic wand, fairy wand, landed on the broom with the arrow toward the left side and or the past. So the fairy wand is magic. When I was channeling the info, it was wave your magic wand and boop. And then I heard bippity boppity boop. Inner child, childlike wonder, the mystical magical. So that's what this wand is all about. And it being mostly on the broom that is the past, which is interesting because of all of the ghost things that came up. And it's also just a smidgen in the ghost, which is the ancestral connection again. So, right? Yes, ancestor. I have the ghost and the zombie, so sometimes in my brain, I forget which one, but I was right. So anyway, you've got the magic in these other lifetimes, the magic in this ancestral connection. And so as you're talking about, this connecting with a potential loved one that is intimate and whatnot, getting those privileges. What's coming forward and again, I love the flow of the conversation because it's tying in different things too that I'm not going to get with the recording, but what's coming forward is the person, or okay, we have more than one soulmate, and we have soulmates for all types of things, friendships, lovers, all of that. But what's coming forward is the person that's a soulmate for you in this life, which there are multiple intimate soulmates too, it just depends on which timelines you want to activate and whatnot. But what I'm seeing is this will not, and this is probably not surprising, this will not be your first lifetime together. And so you can go into these ancestral connections with your past lives and see what comes forward in the realm of love, in the realm of that intimate connection with a partner. Because what is coming forward for you is to firstly just explore it and see what happens. But there's something they want me to hint at, but they don't want me to get too deep into because this is for you to explore. This is a very intimate part of your relationship with yourself as well. But there's something, well, sorry, oneness kicked in. It's very intimate with ourselves. But so there's something important for you that really is coming to the surface from the past, that, and this is again tying into the sun too, because it's all in the same spot, like shining a light on this, like they're almost actually, are you touching? Okay. They were not quite touching, but they may as well have been touching, the sun and the magic wand charm. So you're shining a light on this, and in doing so, the shadows will be revealed.
Mm.
And in that, what's going to come alive, is the way they want me to say that, is the most aligned soul connection for you in this life. Because we have, the way that I'm being told to phrase this, and hopefully this isn't too complicated, because it feels a little complicated, but we have lots of different soul contracts that, we are embodying, living through in this lifetime. Sometimes they actually don't activate because of whatever timelines we're on. So, like, we have so many different potentialities, possibilities within life that it's how do you guys want me to say that? It's not impossible to activate all of them. However, if you they're like, they have like swirling eyeballs right now, just like thinking about that possibility, and that, like, the person would need to be like a superhuman in order to do that. And it would also just kind of be complicated and difficult, because if you're on this timeline, you have these soul contracts activated. If you like suddenly like eject yourself from that and come all the way over here, like it's like not meshing. And so that's the way that they're kind of describing it. Apologies if it's kind of, it feels like it's complicated to even interpret, but my point in sharing this is we have so many soul contracts that are potentialities, and then we actually only activate so many of them. And so in this exploration, this is you choosing which ones you're activating, which soul contracts with these people, places, things, what have you, but specifically with this like specific loved one. However that unfolds will be up to you, which is not surprising either. But in this exploration, you're going to establish those connections in a way that wouldn't be had if you weren't doing it. And so basically you're being more purposeful with, because you can, because you are as aware as you are, because you are as connected as you can put more purpose to this than the general person might be able to. And this is actually amazing for you in your mental body because I just see her spinning right now, because she's just trying to figure out how this is going to work. But she can be involved, but like, cool it. So how is that resonating for you? Because it kind of felt like I was grabbing like lots of different things and just kind of planting various seeds.
Well, on the one hand, I feel like it's comforting because I get what you're saying and I know it, but to hear it again makes sense that depending upon what timeline I choose to align my frequency to who I'm calling in, you can't really mess it up. You can't be like, oh, I missed this one true love soul, mate opportunity. And so I've missed it. Because I mean, I'm not a spring chicken. Like I'm older. So like, it's like, oh, well, you didn't miss an opportunity because, based on where I'm at right now, what I'm aligning myself to, who I'm calling in, and what I want, again, just what do I want to embody for a partnership, almost what I want it to bring out in me.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying the introvert extrovert. Do I want somebody who's also an introvert like me and we stay home together all the time and don't explore the world? And part of me is like, yeah, that sounds comfortable. Just stay in our pajamas and read books and watch TV and have, deep conversation. Like I'm cool with that.
But then there's that part of me that's like, ooh, do I really want to go out and do things I've never done in my, life, as far as exploring and attending events and traveling and things like that? And do I want somebody who's more drawn to that? Depending upon who I want to be in this timeline, where do I want to go with that? That's going to be the partner I bring in that's going to bring that out in me. So it really is my choice. And then there really is no wrong choice, because the right person will align with that and say, that's what you intend intentionally, purposefully. Who do you want to, be in this lifetime? Then that person is going to support you. But if you want to go over here, just like I did with my, mental health and the spiritual, if I didn't pursue this, it's like, okay, who I'm going to draw in as a partner who understands this, this life as me as a therapist, as a trauma therapist, like that's a thing. Like there's some energy to that. There's like, what am I coming home after work like you need to understand that, versus, spiritual practitioner and, potentially traveling and doing holistic fairs and, being on the road and meeting strangers. And like, I mean, just it's different. And so I would attract a different partner depending upon which path I chose. So I actually find that comforting, that once I choose who I want to be, then that timeline will align the contract to say, this person's going to help you achieve those goals, those visions of not just what I want to do in life, but who I want to be in this timeline, because I can be anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. I'm glad that that landed, because I'm like, I feel like I'm just pulling in a bunch of stuff.
But it's very
No, I love it.
comforting, because again, you just
Mhm.
choose who you want to be, and then the right person aligns. But it's not like you can mess that up, because if I choose to be something else or focus on a different part of my life, I mean, if I had the idea that I'm going to move to Arizona, I'm going to attract a very different partner than if I'm like, I'm going to stay in Lansing, Michigan, forever. Like, what I mean? Like, I mean, that's just, it just is. And so
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, you went to Arizona, so you missed out on this love of your life and you're not going to have it. It's like, no, then the person that's meant to be with you in that space and that, where you want to be is going to meet you there and do that.
Exactly. Okay, good. I'm glad. Because, like I said, at first I was like, okay, you guys are bringing in a lot of big stuff right now. I hope that it makes sense coming out. No, that's perfect though.
Not, I read your mind and we were on the same page, so it's fine.
That's so true. And then they're highlighting the heart again on the moon. And so just reflecting on how interesting. So this may or may not be something that you want to do, but there's like, okay, I'll just say it this way. Do you have like an ultimate dream person, or do you have like, well, this person over here looks and sounds amazing, but that person over there looks and sounds amazing too. And so in your exploration, you may find that you have multiple personas that you're wanting in one person. Does that make sense?
It does, but 3 seconds ago, I just realized I haven't chosen who I want to be, so I don't know who I'm calling in. Which one do I like more? So I just realized that just 3 seconds ago. So I'm like, oh crap, I need to figure out who I want to be. And then that person aligns with me. So if I want to be this person, then that's who I'm attracted to. But if I want to be this person, that's who I find attractive. Because you're right, because part of me is like, well, having somebody who aligns with me spiritually and is just as spiritual as me and on the same page as me, or more intellectual, or, like there's just so many different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And there is, so, okay, I'm glad that came through, because I was like, where are you guys taking me on this? Because what I'm seeing is, again, it's those multiple different types of soul contracts that you could access. But it's about emotionally connecting with the you that comes through those relationships, because a lot of the time we get into a relationship because we like who we are with that person, or you're like myself in the past, I was just trying to get out of a bad situation and walked into another bad situation because you don't know any better. That's also very much a thing, because I was not exactly the biggest fan of the person that I was with that person. But I didn't know that at the time. I was just very much in my trauma state at that time. But my point is that when we consciously get into a relationship, when we're a little bit more aware of what's going on, we tend to like who we are based on that relationship. Like when I first met my husband, I was not in a very healed state, mind you, so I will say that. But what I admired about him was his integrity, his presence, his confidence, his ability to stand in his power and just doesn't matter what everyone else thinks, says, whatever. He's his person and he doesn't give a flying shit. I admired that. That's what I wanted in myself. And so I did, of course, had no idea this is what was happening at the time. He was just this big hunky guy. So I was like, yeah. But you know, through that, through our relationship over the years, I've been able to, through all of this work, through the Akashic records and everything that comes with that practice, is learn, oh, I have those capacities. I just didn't know how to operate them. And through all of that, through being with him, seeing how he operates, I get to see how I want to operate within those energies and how I want to make my own relationship with them. And so there's going to be that type of evaluation that you're going to want to be a part of your process. And that's why they highlighted the emotional state and the heart being on the moon again, because of the, excuse me, I'm burping so much. There's so much confirmation. But it's about you feeling, I'm getting a lot of words that just aren't up to par with the energy that's wanting to come through, but wanting to feel whole, complete, all of these things, it's within yourself. And it's about recognizing what someone can help you, how they can help you through that. It's in the beginning of like my husband's and my relationship, I would always tell him, you're my everything, you know, the whole like cliche, you complete me, you know, whatever. And a few years in, I was like, I complete myself, damn it. And it's through his example that I was able to in lots of different ways. And through, you know, your example and so many other beautiful people in this community, it really just helps me, and I'm sure others too, to embody, you know, the aspects of them that are really wanting to shine through. And so this is going to be a really cool exploration for you, and I'm really excited. They just keep oh, I didn't realize that. This was not intentional, because when I was making the map, the guardians were telling me where to put everything. But and they just highlighted it for you. This is the first time I've been with this map for like 2 weeks now. Next to the heart and the moon is the cat. Your emotional kitty. I'm just like, oh, that was a thing. I love that. All right, so where are we going next?
For the people that don't know, my emotional body shows up as my cat. We have the inner child, we have the ego, we have the mental body. My emotional body shows up as my cat.
Yeah, I was a little jelly of that, not gonna lie. I was like, I want a cat.
Well, she was hiding in a cemetery, so I mean, really, what were you jealous of? Okay, I had to go to the cemetery to talk to my cat. Okay, the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. She's a little elusive. She's like, no, I'm gonna hang out here. Let me know when you're ready. Where did I put that? Okay, we're not doing that one yet. Okay. I was trying to figure out which one they were leading me to next. So the wings, the dragonfly wings, they represent transformation, freedom, flying to or away from something. Yep, okay. I said all the things, just making sure. And yours landed on the broom that is going toward the future. And the right side, masculine. Which is hilarious because we're talking about a lover that happens to be masculine. So there's that. Foreshadowing, flying toward that relationship. But that relationship is so something that's we've kind of been dancing around a bit that they want me to bring in now is recognizing that wholeness within your relationship. You know, and just not to get like super deep into stuff that you've told me before, in case, yeah, I'm sure you're fine with it, but I'm just
none of my exes are on my Facebook, so it's fine.
Okay. What I what I was being
You can
shown
bring
is-
up anything. I'm so over that. It's been years. It's fine. Bring up anything you need to. It's fine.
Okay, I figured, but
I've healed so much stuff, so I'm good.
I get you. So basically what I'm being shown is you've had lots of examples of what you don't want. Okay.
Yes.
And in that, you've experienced who you don't want to be. How you
Yeah,
don't want
codependent and the Libra that's a people pleaser and losing myself or hiding parts of me because they didn't like the spiritual. They thought it was creepy or weird. So I just denied part of who I am as a spiritual being. Like, oh yeah, all sorts of emotionally unavailable men was probably my go-to. They were, I mean, I've dated every branch of the military, Marines, Air Force, Army, you name it, Navy. Because they were all unavailable. They're always off and gone. Like I've always gone after the unavailable. Oh, they're not around. It's cool. You know, like so yeah, I'm ready for something different for sure.
Yeah. And what's funny in that last statement that you just said too, you a part of a very like that's multifaceted in lots of different ways, multidimensional. So a part of that too is because they were away, you still got to be you.
Because when they came around, I lost myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had to have them go away so I could get back to like, ah, oh, this is me. Okay, but they're back, and I gotta be who they want me to be, and I gotta show up as they, lose myself in it, and
Yeah. And so you've had a lot of those experiences, and I'm sure you are not alone in that. I know I certainly have too. And so this is your opportunity to, and a part of why you've been, taking this time for you to, develop yourself, develop your skills, your connection to self, to source, to everything has been such an important part of your process. And now you get to take all of that into this new forward momentum of this transformation in this relationship sense and finding you and how to be you in those relationships and still, honor the other person, but enforcing those boundaries, enforcing the things that 20-year-old Vanessa would never dare to, clutching pearls, So I love that. And the I keep saying butterfly wings. The dragonfly wings are dead center. Like they are they're actually riding the broom. They're like, I'm going to take a break and let the broom do the work.
okay.
And so there's something else with that too. Oh, they just want to hook this into the things we were talking about in regard to your process of, writing down all of the different things that you want your person to embody and then seeing if you also embody those things. They're just highlighting that again as being a part of the transformation work that's important, especially I mean, if this resonates with anybody else on the call, then it's great for you too, but especially for you because of how your mental body works, because of how strong she is. Um, but a part of it too that's important is bringing in your inner child to that work, not just your mental body, but your inner child. And after you three write that, you just, do your thing, take your time with it, just it doesn't have to be a one and done thing. You can do it over like the span of a week or something or whatever. Then after you three do that, bring all of the rest of your bodies in and see where they're at with that too, because that's going to be very informational, especially the emotional body. Well, actually all of them, especially because the emotional body is going to connect in new ways because of the relationships you've had before where that emotional unavailability was so prevalent. And then your physicality, well, your physical being has a lot to share. I'll just leave it at that. But wearing orange today, if you noticed. The beautiful sacral chakra. The which one is spiritual? The spiritual has a lot to share as well because they were one of the ones that were heavily outcasted in previous relationships. And so they have a lot that they can share with you. And then when you are working with your spiritual body on this, like I know that this is already a part of your work anyway, but just to emphasize the intention behind bringing your higher self in as well. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes my spiritual body and my higher self are one and the same, and sometimes they're not. So I'm seeing it as both ways for you, and allow both to come forward where they are one and the same, and then when they're not, because the spiritual body, there's still going to be, it's not really 3D things, but there's attachments to the 3D stuff, like the really human stuff that the spiritual body is more connected to than the higher self, just
Mm,
because it's a part of our internal
mm.
structures. So, like, not that this is the thing, but I just keep seeing spiritual ego. Like, there's a bit of that wrapped up in some things. And so, a balance for that, besides the higher self, is your inner child, if that's something that's wanting to come forward, because she can highlight innocence where the spiritual body may be in resistance to. And so, in that combination of relationship, the spiritual body is going to be able to heal the things that have become out of balance. And so I'm not getting anything specific, and it's just spiritual ego was just the thing that came forward as an example. But there's other things. Like, I'm seeing like three, they're not like large shadows, but there's like three shadows. Okay, this, I don't know why, but I just heard three wise men. So don't know what that's about. That's a whole other thing, but they're just highlighting that. So have fun. So how is that landing? Is
As
that
long as I don't have three options, because God knows you give me three fantastic guides and tell me to choose between them, and I'm screwed. Because good Lord.
Yeah. And that's a part of why that whole like multiple list thing was coming forward. I'm like, that feels really complicated, y'all. I don't know about that one. But what they're warning, it's not, like heavy or anything, but they're just saying to make sure your mental body stays in check about it and doesn't have too high of expectations. Make room for the energetic flow
Mm-hmm,
is a part of that. Like, yes, you can have your list, you can have all these things.
mm-hmm.
They can check off the majority of the boxes and still
Sure.
be a perfect fit for
Mm-hmm,
you.
mm-hmm.
So, just allowing that flow. Vicky says she's wearing orange also. And she's loving this reading information. I love that.
I'm telling you, this is applicable to a lot of people.
Yeah, honestly. And if anybody is really interested in these sessions, I'm offering them on special for the rest of the month and probably into November, because they're still applicable, I think. And I actually think I'm gonna do this seasonally because this is really fun.
Well, right now
Um,
you're completely in alignment. I mean, you're talking about shadows and three shadows, and we're hitting Scorpio season with all the shadow work and stuff, and shining light on all of this, and
mhm.
shining light on the shadows and the unseen. And I'm like, man, this is actually perfectly in alignment. And then all the balance stuff, like with the
Yeah.
Libra. I mean, I'm a double Libra, so that already is a thing where I'm like, okay, balance. All right, I got it.
Yep. You gotta have the double, so it's two.
Yup.
One for each side. And then also with it being the new moon, Mercury retrograde starts today. Sorry. My technology has definitely been wigging out, so makes sense that we had so much kitty. Okay. Alrighty, so let me bring this up. We are being guided to the Pentacle, which landed on four. Four. The Pentacle, ironically, too, is the thing that I channeled the most information about. And because there's a couple of different ways that they wanted me to take it. It's representative of the elements. You've got the star, so you've got five, that's the elements, and then you've got the circle, which is the oneness, the wholeness. It's also about where your relationship with and utilization of the elements are, and where they could change or improve, or what have you. Um, But this is also in the idea of the elements representing the earthly life, the humanness of experience, the down to earthness that we go through. Excuse me, it's also about coming together, that circle, the community, abundance, all of these really beautiful pieces wanted to come together. So it's hilarious that you landed in 4. What would have made me chuckle is if it landed in 5. And I don't know that that's possible, but I'm sure. So the first one it landed in were the falling leaves. And the leaves are all about things that are falling away. It's fall season, the leaves are falling off the trees, as you were talking about at some point earlier when I was writing all the notes. And so it's about what's falling away. So elementally, there is quite a few things falling away. Of course, within the season itself, you are shedding so many different things that are no longer aligned with you, and you have been this whole year. Like, this year of completion is really bringing all of that to a head, is how I'm hearing that, because this is like, it's a big transition year for so many of us. And closing out those cycles, I was just reminded of, I have no idea what month I posted this, but that random healing where I was coloring my hair. And I'm like, I need to do this. I'm sorry, y'all. But it was that closing of that book and then opening a new book, writing out those chapters, just because the meditation, healing, whatever happened at that time doesn't mean that the book itself was fully complete at that point. You were in the process of closing out those chapters, and then this year is the finalization of that, so that you can start the year with a new book. And keep in mind, energy and Gregorian calendar don't always align. So
Well, here's what's interesting. We're
okay.
in a 9-year of completion, which I call the death year. It's letting things fall away. 9 is always a death year. Get rid of it, because then 1 is the new beginning. What are you calling forward? Blank canvas, bring it in or whatever. My personal numerology, this is my year number 8. So it is stepping into the power, the right use of power, my sovereignty, my, abundance and all of that. But that means next year, personally, I'm going to be a 9, while the collective year is a 1. So it's going to be interesting that I'm stepping into my power, which is allowing me to shed these things, to see things differently. And then next year, it's the 1, it's the new beginning, it's what I'm calling in, but also on a personal level, still the 9, what else am I shedding, releasing, letting go? So again, it's not just like you said, the book closed on this day at this time, then it's over. Like this, I mean, it's like this year and next year, there's so much of this bleed through. And I'm not sure why I'm doing an infinity symbol, but apparently I'm doing this.
Oh, yes.
But that's like, because I'm seeing like, again, what I'm shedding, my power that I'm stepping into to be able to create something new. And then, going into next year, what does that mean for even more of the shedding, the releasing, as I'm building and calling in the 1, potentially a 1 new relationship, 1, different with my business, as I'm, integrating the 2, more intentionally, instead of mental health over here and spiritual over here, but definitely blending. That's, where I'm fading into. And so again, this 8, 9, 9, 1, it's going to be interesting.
That makes a lot of sense for what I was seeing too, because the part of why they told me to say, don't be so stuck on like the Gregorian calendar dates, is because spring is actually like, the new year. And, there's theories and things, probably truths and things, but I'm not going to speak on that. What I'm saying is I was seeing, ironically, April for you again.
Deja vu.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? For those that obviously don't know, there was a big thing with Vanessa in April this year. Lots of things happened, and yeah, so
there was like 3 months in one. That was
yeah,
literally 3 months in one. April was,
it was
wow.
nuts. Yeah.
But now it makes sense if we're talking about the elements of the fire and the new beginning and the Aries and the fresh start and truly the 1 after the 9s of letting go and this and that. So totally makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So the falling away also partially landed on the moon, so we're highlighting those emotions again. You got both the emotions. There's two symbols on this map for each thing, and you got both of them.
Well, I am more mental than I am emotional, so it's definitely time for me to let my mental take a break, put it on the beach somewhere, and then tune into the emotional, which is also the inner child, being able to feel fun, feel joy, embody more of that in the physical, right? Embody that. What does that physically look like? To have fun, to rest, to play, not just mentally have a, giant to-do list that will never ever get done because she keeps adding to the to-do list.
As she would, of course. Colleen says she's also an 8 as well. So I guess this
Stepping into our power. Yay.
get it. I don't I don't know about that for me. I don't what like thing is that? The 8
Oh, what is your birthday? The month and the
July
day.
29th.
So 7/29.
Mm-hmm.
So 9, 10, 11. So 7 plus 11 is 18. 18 plus 9 is 27. 2 and 7 is 9. You are currently in a 9-year and the 9-year.
Oh, yay.
You're letting everything fall away. Just get rid of it all.
That makes a lot of sense. This is like I already, hermit is a part of my human design. Like I'm a 6'2", 6'2" is hermit. Definitely a big hermit, but this year I feel like half of it was hermit. Just hermit. So makes a lot of sense because I didn't even know how to show up anymore. And I'm like, all I do is go do it. You just do it. But I'm like, but how? I can't do it. So, because like a part of it was like I didn't even know who to be anymore, you know? Like all of that was shedding to such a degree that I didn't even know if I was going to do this anymore, but I didn't know what else I would do because this is what I'm supposed to do. So it's just a whole recalibration of that. So anyway, the falling away, the emotions. One of the things that they're wanting me to highlight is actually I posted about this the other day. One of the first things that you feel as you are healing is grief and loss.
Mm.
And it's important that we are present for those parts because if we aren't, then that's gonna just stick around. Grief does not give you an option. Like when it comes up, and you're just gonna experience it whether you like it or not. But the thing is important to be with those aspects because just think about it this way. So you have a beautiful part of you that has been with you likely decades, since childhood or even other lifetimes. And all of a sudden you heal and you do the things, you show up for yourself, and you're ready to let that part of you go. That's been a part of you for so long. Even if it wasn't that long, it's been a part of you and it has protected you, it has loved you, it has done its due diligence to make sure that you are whole, complete, and it's the most highest capacity, which may not actually be aligned, may not actually be whole and complete. It's based on the limited perception that this part of you is coming from. But the important thing is you're letting it go. Like think of it as a long lost friend that has been with you for so long. You're just gonna say, okay, F you, bye. Like no, you're gonna cry with it. You're gonna hold it. You're gonna cherish it and thank it. Give it gratitude for everything it's done for you. And now because you have gone through everything together with that part of you, you now get to move on into something that is more aligned for you. But that was still a huge part of that growing up piece, and so it's important to just give love and respect to that part of you because it is a part of you that just no longer is aligned. And when you're present for it in that beautiful way, And I'm not saying you have to hold on for a long time. You can take 5 minutes, like, how, and I'm not saying to put a timer on your emotional experience, but
Yeah, because my mental body would.
exactly. And that's why I felt important to say that. I just saw a timer. I'm like, oh, nope, we don't want a timer. But when you do that, when you show up for yourself in that way, the inner child pops in, and she or they, because if this is for other people, they are like, oh my gosh, you are the person I needed. You are the person that you needed growing up. And just how beautiful is that? Like, for just a quick example, I've been doing inner child work for years, so much inner child work. Um, and so there's a long story to this, but basically I did a thing, healed a big thing, and then 9 months later, I got another piece to that because I showed up for myself, and it was a stupid thing. It really was. It was just a little thing. I don't mean to be judgy with the stupid, but it was just something that I was caught up in and I didn't realize I was caught up in. And it was from a random person that I have no idea who they were. It was just this thing. So anyway, I was like, that's stupid. I'm not doing that to myself anymore. And then we healed it and whatever. And then my inner child's like, I'm going to gift you a reward, memory unlock, because you showed up for yourself in that were present with that grief of letting that part go. You now get to experience even more understanding of yourself, a subconscious thing. Like I got to see this whole memory that I haven't remembered in forever. And through that came a ridiculous amount of healing. And so there's just so many different ways, and I have no control over my camera. Yes, I don't know why it keeps moving. But anyway, it's just such a beautiful experience when you're able to be consciously aware enough of your emotional experience that you can actually be present for yourself as you are navigating that. Because ultimately, emotions, or I should say one emotion, it only lasts like 90 seconds at the most. It's our attachment to the meanings that we add to that emotion that keeps it around and keeps that toxicity building. And so, and whatever, you know. But when you're actually just present for the emotions and you allow them to flow, they just flow. And of course, know that you are very likely processing more than one emotion at a time. So don't be surprised if it's 2 minutes later and you're like, I'm still going through because there's so much backlogged, so for a long time it's going to be that way. But the more you do it, the more confident, the more your capacity grows. That way you can process more and more at once, and it's not overwhelming and all of that. So I know that your journey through that has been so insane, like insane and amazing. And at the same time, like, I'm just seeing your processing of the souls that you're crossing over, like processing their emotional states at the same time, but not taking it on, so there's a difference with that in particular they're wanting me to bring up. So it's specific to you and anybody else that, maybe takes on these energies that aren't necessarily theirs. Actually, I want me to ask you, how is that process for you? Because I know you've mentioned how when, you have watched them cross and then all of a sudden the emotions come through. Do you feel like you're processing your emotions through that, or is there something?
It's been both. At the beginning, I was processing my own grief, my own loss, my own anticipatory grief of people in my life, things I didn't allow myself to grieve for, and not just those that have, crossed over, but loss of job, friendships, life changes, client stuff, like, work things, disappointments in life, like grieving over expectations not being met. I had the backlog. And so when it's like they allowed me to feel their stuff, and then everything that's in my folder labeled with the same emotion, grief, loss, disappointment, attachment, and everything, I was unloading it as well, because it was almost like they gave me permission to do so. So then I was able to, process emotions through it. Now, when I'm doing any of the spiritual work, the grid work, the trauma of the spirits, stuck spirits, any of that kind of stuff, I rarely cry, and I acknowledge and I feel and I hold space, and it's like I bear witness for them, for their emotional state. And so I understand it, and there's compassion there, but I don't need to, even with the in the past lives, when I'm doing these Akashic readings and the soul grid healing, and I can see their trauma and why they can't have a child in this lifetime, and they're trying to heal their infertility because of some horrible things that happened to them. Like, oh my God, I can't, no wonder you can't have a kid in this life because of this happened or whatever. And I have the space for their soul that's showing me this experience, and I can do that, but I don't need to feel it myself. So now I hold space, I witness, I name it for them, and for myself, because I may have similar, we're all connected, my own past life or my own similar experiences, the same folder with the same label, but I don't cry as much. It's because it's not feeling it, carrying it heavy on me, and I need to release it. It's like it's already, as soon as I witness it, name it, see it, it already flows through me. So I don't have it on me as much. I don't cry as much, which is great, because again, like, it's not that like crying is a bad thing. It's like I was crying because I had a backlog of stuff I never processed and I should have cried for, many years ago. And it's like, well, now finally I am. Now it's like, no, I don't need to cry. If I need to cry, I will. But for the most part, I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to cry because it's not mine. It's like, when you watch a movie and your brain knows, like, I'm just watching this. This isn't mine. This is the characters in the movie that I'm watching. That's their stuff to experience. I can be like, oh man, that's a sad scene, but I don't need to cry as if it's my own anymore. So it has definitely shifted and changed. But like I said, that backlog, I had to go through so much of that myself.
Yeah. No, I was curious about that because at first when you were talking to me about it, I was like, kind of like, I felt like that's what it would be. And I was like, I hope she's like not taking on their stuff and processing it like for them, because you can't. But at the same time, I understand now where you're coming from more, that you've had more of a development with that. So kudos to you, because that's amazing. Like
Well,
being able to stand
yeah,
your
I mean, I
ground.
know a lot of, again, therapy, spiritual work, whatever, even just friendships, carrying other people's emotions, doing the work for them, thinking, oh, if I carry this for you, somehow that helps you, and I can handle it, or I can process it and somehow heal that. And it's not mine to carry. And people need to know more about the boundaries of it's not theirs to carry. And so as I explained to, my clients who I see do this and stuff, is knowing how to care without carrying. So you can care about somebody, but that doesn't mean you're carrying them, their emotions, their baggage, their problems. Doesn't mean you don't care. Once she's like, well, I didn't get super upset. I just like listened to her, but I didn't feel it. And now I feel like maybe I'm supposed to feel, or I'm supposed to. And it's like, no, that's what good boundaries are, where you just simply hold the space. And you go, I'm so sorry going through that. Let me know that works out. If you need anything, let me know. But it's not jumping into problem solving, or I'm going to feel it for you. I'm going to take it home and I'm going to think about it for the next 2 days. What's happening with you? It's not yours.
Yeah. Yeah, because you literally can't do it for them. Like, you might think that you're capable, but you're not. And that's just a general thing. Because I know that I tried to save a lot of people. And
Yep.
this spiritual work, we're trying to save the world, you know. And so really just that's another thing that they're highlighting about shining the light on is going back to the sun, is just your transition through that. Like, that's huge. The fact that you're in the space now that you are, and you allowed yourself to process those pent up emotions and pent up things, and, all of the energetic meanings and the things that were tied to all of that, and just allowing yourself to process that using whatever permission slip you needed to do that with. But, it just, again, acknowledging the transition that you've made. That way, a part of this is so it doesn't get repeated, because when we acknowledge it, we see how far we've come, we celebrate that, we there's something coming through about, again, they're just showing like the truly closing the book on these old habits, these old ways of being. It's not just like a one and done thing. there's going to be things that come up in the future, triggers, experiences, or whatnot, that's going to remind you, oh, hey, I used to be this way. And it's giving you an opportunity to make a different decision, to show up in a different way, to show up for yourself in a different way and other people. And healing, or this experience is very much like healing in that it is layered, it is multifaceted. And so there's going to be times where you're reminded of who you used to be. And it's an opportunity to show up as the new embodiment that is Vanessa, or the viewer. And so just again reflecting on that and really commending yourself for the work that you've done. Like, yes, of course, the energetics, the spiritual source, all of that is a part of it, and there's humility in that, but at the same time, you're the one that's showing up, you're the one doing the work, you're the one that is going against everything in your body that's wanting to conform and do the thing it's used to doing, feels more comfortable with, and saying, no, I deserve better. I deserve to be here for me, to take better care of myself, even if that requires a little more effort than I'm feeling capable of right now, whatever that is. And just really celebrating. Like, I'm just seeing a lot of different celebration things in the inner child coming forward, just because of how important that is. And then this is again tying into your mental body, because she is so like goal focused, and she's like, okay, let's do the next thing. And it's time, like sometimes you really got to rein her in and be like, no, be here now. Like, just be here now. Like, I'm seeing, like, I know the lotus has been behind you this whole time, but like, put her in a freaking lotus and make her stay. Is the moon new, by the way? I don't remember that.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. I was gonna say, I thought
It's
so.
amethyst. I know you can't see, but these are all amethyst.
Oh, so pretty. And I love that kitty. Sorry, that just makes me really happy. Okay.
It was a
So,
birthday gift from a client, so
oh, I love that.
they were celebrating me because I don't
Yay.
celebrate myself enough. So
See? Just on par. Okay, so the pentacle is also in the seedling or seed. I have seed/seedling, so it's both. And the seed is all about planting seeds. What else did I write? Oh, just that's what I wrote. Okay. And then what's really cool is it's the pentacle. So it's bringing in, this earthly elements again. So it's just kind of interesting because, we were just talking about a bit of like this process of transition, this celebrating where you are, letting go of the things that haven't been or aren't aligned anymore. And then you're also planting seeds at the same time for next year and beyond. And so within the elements, which is such an earthly thing, this pentacle being such an earthly um charm, it landing on the seed is just really cool because that's all earth, that's rebirth. Like, you are in this huge stage of that letting go and rebirth piece in this year and next year. And so next year is very much, it's still the letting go, but because it's the 1 year, you're anchoring into that fresh start. And so it's very interesting for you in this, but they're asking me to ask you, and on the recording, this would just be a journal prompt or something like that. But since we're live, we get to have the actual conversation. In an elemental focus, but also allowing that to be whatever it needs to be, what are you planting? Where is that leading? Business, personal, all of that. We were talking about a significant other. You're planting the seeds with that process that was brought forward, and then I'm sure that there's going to be even more that follows because you are so connected. So you're going to get things from that breadcrumb. And then you know, planting in this new way of thriving in your business, professionally in your mental field, and then also in the spiritual realm where you're really just allowing yourself to play more. And isn't that what the rest of the year is for you, is play?
Quarter number 4. I'm ending the year with just only doing the things that bring me joy, not the things that I think will bring me money or clients or business. It's just, if this is fun for me, then I'm going to post this. I'm going to, do a video on this. I'm going to offer this service. I'm only going to do the things that are truly fun for me. And then I'll refigure things out in January as to whatever the next step is. But for right now, I know I need a break. It's okay if my, schedule is lighter because I've released the mental health to make space for the spiritual clients, and they haven't come in droves, but also gives me room to breathe. It gives me room to cultivate, to use my emotions of joy and fun to water the seeds that I have planted. Because I have a tendency to be all fire and air. I have this great idea and this passion and this, this and that. But am I truly taking the emotions as a water to water the seeds, which is, the joy, the fun, or even the celebration as an emotion, and saying, I'm celebrating this one sale that I made. This is fantastic. This is wonderful. I'm so happy. It's not like, oh, I made 10. It's like, I made 1, and it deserves the same amount of emotion because that's watering that seed that will lead to the 10 other sales instead of just, the 1. So I'm definitely seeing that. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And then, I mean, you're not only watering it, but you're planting it into the earth, which is another. And then the ether.
Well, but the embodiment. What is
around.
the physical? What does the physical look like? Like, my mental body wants to do something, always. So it's, how do I do, which is in the physical world. What does do look like? Do maybe resting, do maybe going bowling, do maybe reading a book, do maybe going for a walk and looking at the fall colors. Like, the doing, which my mental body wants, is also doing these embodiments of joy and fun and play, not just, mentally thinking about something that might be fun. Like, oh, I haven't thought that would be a fun, video, but the actual act of doing the embodiment of it in the physical realm. I think that's important for me because I don't really embody the physical piece of what does that feel like? What does that look like in the physical? To say I'm having fun, how does that show up? And then my mental body's like, oh yeah, we're doing a thing. And then I can feel it's really bringing in all the elements, really, because when you think about it, it's like, I'm just really like, you have the idea, which is the air. The mental body's like, this might be, a fun thing to do because it wants the fire action step. Okay. The creativity and, the passion and the excitement about it. And like, okay, the fire, let's go do the thing, the motivation. And then you physically embody and do the thing. To feel the water, the emotion. So you're really using all of the elements. And then if you bring in the spirit part of it, and then you really just tune in and get the divine that said, hey, Sunday morning you go bowling. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going bowling. I just got an idea. Like, it's 9 a.m. All right, let's go. Like, I would never have thought to do that. Sunday's a lazy day. I don't do much, like, the go. And all right, fine. And, I went and I did the thing because my spirit inspired idea said, here's the inspired idea. And then you take the action and the fire and the water, and like all the elements come together to truly embody and have that human experience. The human experience is just to enjoy the crap out of life, really, and however that shows up. But yes, I think getting away from more of the fire and air by itself and really saying the pentacle, yes, it is an earthly, but the embodiment means you're embodying every one of the elements.
Yeah. And the embodiment process itself is that coming to life piece, which is the ether, which is the spirit too. And so you're bringing it in, but then you're actually embodying it, and in that embodiment, it's completing the cycle and it's restarting again. So you've got those waves again. So I love how that just played very well together. And the last thing that your pentacle is in is the witch's hat, which is your mental space. And I feel like we've been bringing her in quite a bit. But I'm going to bring in the next charm just to talk about it too, because this is also in the witch's hat right next to the pentacle, and that is the key. The key is in your mental space. And so the key is it's probably unnecessary to share, but it's about something that is wanting to be unlocked, embodied, embraced, unlocked and opened is how I wrote it. And so How does that resonate within your mental body and the elements? And so we already said a lot about that, and I feel like we unlocked a lot with that. But there's something else that your mental body, okay, I'm just going to tell you what I saw. So she looked like an excited little kid. I know, very unlike her.
Yeah.
But basically, what I saw was a door next to her. She was slightly in front of it, and she was like, hee. Like she's standing kind of in front of it, so you don't see it, but she's also like in this space of it's becoming safe to unlock it. And that's why she's kind of excited because she's been wanting to share this with you for a long time. But there's just been a lot of resistance. And what, oh, okay. Self-concept. It's about unlocking your self-concept. And a part of that is unlocking the self-concept that you have around your mental body. Oh, this feels good. Okay. So we have over time developed these relationships with our internal bodies. Whether or not you're conscious of that, the viewers, is a thing. But for those of us like Vanessa and I, we work with our bodies all the time. And so you have this relationship with your mental body where there are certain expectations on how they behave, on how they respond or react or whatever that is. And this isn't to say that your interpretations of that are wrong or anything like that, because it's not. However, because of your development in every area of your life, your mental space, your mental body, or I should say that there is this self-concept created about what that means, what that represents. And it's time to unlock a new chapter of that, a new arena, a new concept, because you're ready for it.
Hmm.
They're not telling me what it is yet, because this is I mean, we can do it in session if you want, but this is also something you can of course do on your own. The key is, they're just saying the key is yours to unlock at any time that you feel is appropriate. And I'm feeling that it is soon. This is why this is coming up, and it's right next to the seedling, and it's connected to the pentacle, which is in the seedling. So you're planting the seed for this, or have been planting the seed for this and are continuing to. And as we're talking about, your mental body, having these particular personality traits, these things, they want you to expand. The mental body is saying that they are more than you even know. That there is another realm of their capacities that you are now ready to access. And in that, there will be, of course, growing challenges, but it's not anything to get like dreadful about. It's exciting. And your mental body is utilizing some of your inner child's excitement, like capacity, to help them. Which is a part of why it came through earlier that the inner child can be a balancer for our bodies in some ways, because it came through for your spiritual earlier, but now it's coming in for your mental too. Because what's so great about the more that we practice this inner body work, this inner body healing experience, what have you, these relationships, as they develop, the bodies end up integrating within themselves and helping each other in different ways. Because when I first started doing this work, or maybe not first, but for a while, I thought, the ego and the mental body are buddies, the physical and emotional are buddies, and the spiritual and inner child are buddies. But it doesn't have to just be that way. The inner child wants to help all the bodies. I have buddies works too. They grow to such a capacity of being able to be more present in your current reality that they want to start helping each other at some point. And you're kind of in that realm of that opening up more, and the inner child.
Okay,
Oh,
I got a question then.
mhm,
So last night I had an experience that I won't divulge, but you'll know. So
mhm.
I had a new client. It was a 2-hour session, so like there's that. It was different than any other session I've had. And again, mental health client, but because I'm integrating more of the spiritual stuff and it was her first session with me, it was kind of nice because I basically got to set the precedent of like, this is who I am, take it or leave it. If you want a
Mhm.
different therapist, I'll give you referrals because this is how I'm going to do therapy going forward now. Like I'm going to be all of me. So
Mhm.
I felt like I had the mental capacity as a therapist to know how to do the session, but it was a hell of a lot more fun that I got to bring in the spiritual body. So it felt like the inner child, but I was connecting and understanding her emotions without picking them up. I used a lot of humor to shift, and it was her personality. So like I was able to read that that's who she was and everything.
Mhm.
So was that an example of me bringing in more of my bodies into the work I was doing, or is that an example of them integrating? What was that experience last night?
Both and.
Oh, okay.
Multi-dimensional, girlfriend.
Of course, of course. Okay. It felt very different and like I was accessing different parts of myself, but there was no conflict and I wasn't shifting. All right, in this moment, I'm mentally, here's information, knowledge. Now I'm shifting to emotionally connecting. Now I'm shifting to spiritually. Like it was so integrated. And I haven't had an experience like that. I mean, written not consistently, not, I don't know, intentionally or where I was just like, I'm going to do this session differently. Like, I am starting now. This is how I'm going to be doing therapy with people. Like, at the gate, this is what I'm doing. Not like, well, we've done it this way, but let's introduce maybe some Reiki and maybe some of this or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I'm
Mhm.
now guiding. It was like, this is from the beginning. This is who I am, all of me, take it or leave it kind of thing. And it just felt really good, but it was very different energy than how I've done therapy ever.
Yeah. I mean, firstly, just like legitimately.
Okay.
But a part of that is because you were so affirmative about it. You put your foot down, like you said. You were like, this is who I am, and I'm fully embodying that. I'm wrapping myself up, and we're all going forward. So, firstly, you setting that intention was so powerful. So, there's that. And then you setting that intention internally gave off the signal, hey everyone, we're all playing together today. We're going to do this from now on. We're going to play with this. We're going to experiment. We're going to see what's going on. And so, because your internal aspects had kind of a heads up of what was going on, they were able to then fit perfectly into their spaces and occupy that and become one. So, this is just an amazing example of what the embodiment of your healing journey thus far has progressed to. It's progressed to you being able to show up authentically, wholly, bringing all of you into it and still holding those firm boundaries, still holding the space energetically in your, mental practice experience, so you're holding the space in that way. You're bringing in everything, and that's so powerful, and that's what so many people are either wanting for their person that they work with or wanting for themselves more, like pretty much everyone. And just you being authentically that, not only, here's another key unlock that's happening. Not only unlocks things within yourself, but you unlock that for other people. You become the permission slip for other people. And because you're so authentic in that space, the person that you're working with, or the people that you're working with, the spirits you're working with, what have you, they have this certain comfortability that makes it just a flow. Because again, you are embodying that. And that's not to say that you're not going to have like a client and that's a little more troublesome or what have you, or maybe isn't fully in flow with what it is that you're offering, but that's great too, because you get to, at that point, learn more about yourself, more about how you can show up, more about the client that you are actually really wanting to work with. Or if this is a great client, it's just there's a different process of growing and developing that relationship. And so they just wanted to bring in that part to know that a part of why this was so smooth sailing is, again, everything that I said before, but additionally, one of the things they wanted me to say is, since this was like your first time really doing that, they wanted to show you what's possible. Because sometimes it's not always going to flow that well, but it's important that you have your foundation set so that you don't backtrack on these old ways of being. And not to say that there's anything wrong if you do that. It's just information, and so this is a general thing, but not creating a story of limiting values out of that experience. It's all growing up from here. However that phrase will support you. You can alter that. But yeah. I know, it's crazy how all this is going. So how does that feel? Does that answer your question?
Yes. And I have a tangible experience, which I always, need that. I need the,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's what that was. That's what was
Mhm.
happening. Like, that's what that feels like.
Mhm.
And the possibility of what that can look like. Definitely curious as to what the mental body is capable of.
Mhm. Yeah, and a part of that too was that confirmation bias for your mental body. Um, and a part of why this even landed on the witch's hat today, the key, is partially because you had that experience. And so it was funny because we were talking about doing this on Friday, and then I ended up, I had a wedding to go to, so I wasn't able to. But I technically could have, but it would have been stupid of me to do because I would have been late. But anyway, just my point in saying this is divine timing. And with it being the new moon on top of that, like, this is amazing. And one of the things, like, I'm not really seeing a barrier to entry for that door unlock, by the way. Like, I see her raring to go, ready to go. So just in case that's something for you. Now, after the call, you may have a different feeling or something, but I'm not seeing any barrier to entry there. So, and,
Well,
and
I mean, if it feels anything like last night, I mean, just the energy was so exciting. And I mean, for me, for the client, the shifts, the changes that were made, I mean, so much happened. And I mean, really such a short time. I mean, I met her for the very first time, 2 hours later, she's completely different. I mean, she quit her job, like, it was fantastic. Like, completely retired. But like, she was, oh, I can't yet, and I can't yet, and I can't yet. And it's like, no, like, you're ready. And she's like, yeah, let's do it, let's pull the trigger, like, right now, like, tomorrow, I'm giving my notice, like, we're done. I'm like, yes, like, it was so cool, huge life change. Like, everything it was great. And so if that's the feeling, then yes, I am excited for my mental body. But what I got as you were talking, which I mean, the obvious, I'm like, well, of course it sounds something. This is what's possible when my mental body doesn't do it alone. And this is what life is possible when I don't do it alone.
yeah.
I don't have to do life alone. This is possible when you pair up. And
Yeah.
I haven't paired up. I do it alone, And I'm talking about with spirit, but I also mean like with real people. Like, I'm ready for real people and what is possible when you pair up versus when you're by yourself. My mental body is by herself. And now last night she paired up, with a whole team. And it's like, holy crap, look what happened when you weren't doing it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Which now seems horribly obvious, but I'm like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it might be obvious to you now, but before you would have been like, no. And so many people are in that state of, fearing the possible when you do have that internal community that's working together and then communing with source as well, or spirit, God, whatever word you want to use. But it was so funny because I actually saw something yesterday about this, and it was, actually, no, it was this morning, I think. Anyway, basically this person was asking this other guy for help with abundance. And so basically what ended up happening is this guy wasn't allowing life to life. Trying to control everything, trying to manipulate, navigate, what have you, create his own pathways when the pathways are just open and ready for you to just kind of meander. And he the guy asked him, he's like, so what's the issue with not allowing life to life? And he's like, well, there's no space for source. There's no space for that community with yourself through that source I am love essence. And when you aren't allowing that, it's so bleak. And so many of us get trapped in the cycles of survival and all of these things that just inundate that capacity for connection, because we're allowing these other things to get in the way of that. And I don't know why this is coming up to say at this point, but when I first started working on my emotional eating stuff and, take this and apply it as needed elsewhere, one of the things that was said to me is I was relying on food instead of source. I was relying on these physical things that aren't going to ever fill that void, where source, the I am love essence, that's all it does is fill those voids. And when you actually allow it to come in, allow it to be a part of your life, allow it be the embodiment of that magic, pure magic. I just saw the wet magic wand, bippity boppity boop. I love that. So I'm so excited for you. That session sounds like it was amazing. Where do we want to go next? So we're down to 3 more charms. And we're going to start with the moon charm. So yes, there is moon placements on the map, and there's also a moon charm.
Surprised the moon didn't land on the moon at this point. Jeez.
I know. Oh, Dina is in the chat. Possible and effortless flow. Bring it on, ladies. Thank you, Dina. And then, okay, so what did I say? The moon. So the moon charm represents emotional healing, presence, and stop running away from and face. So, yeah. And it landed on the cauldron, which is cooking stuff up. So, Vanessa, what are you cooking up that you've been afraid to face?
Aside from the partnership piece?
Yeah, just, little things.
Yeah, just, afraid of getting my heart broken again. I mean, just a little thing, just avoiding that.
Yeah. So, digging into that, actually, they want me to tie it in with the other one thing that's right next to it. So, there's a dragon charm. And the dragon is somewhere. What is he about? I'm like, what is it about? I don't remember. Burning away. Deep ancient healing. Companion and protection. And your dragon just came in. I mean, they've been here the whole time, but like they're really here now. They're like, oh, I have been summoned. In his beautiful blue gold majesty. So the reason that they wanted me to bring this in, because the dragon, all of those things, landed on the tree. And the tree is about adventure. It's about, what did I write? I'm getting tired. Where'd it go? There it is. The adventure, healing, and nature. Obvious things. Why I couldn't remember them? Anyway. So this dragon of ancient healing lands on this tree of healing, lands on this nature, this adventure. And they're wanting to tie that into the moon, the emotional things, the things that we're running away from, into the cauldron, which is that cooking something up piece. And so all of these things coming together, it just felt really good to bring the cooking something up and the adventure together. Because they want to bring more excitement into the resistance that's there around the running away from the things that we're not wanting to face. And so for you specifically, they want you to take your dragon, or bring your dragon, not take him, sorry. You just lift him up, you know. Bring him forward. Do this in whatever capacity feels aligned for you, but I'm seeing the two of you becoming one. And you are blowing your fire on all of the fear that's around that. And there's, okay, this is my mental body kicking in. There's some sort of breath work that's wanting to come through. I saw it. Is there like a dragon's fire breath or something like that? I feel like there has to be. I'm seeing like the lion's breath, right? You know, I saw that, but it feels like there's something that you can incorporate that with your dragon too. So I don't know if there's a dragon breath thing, but you can borrow some of the lion breath and facilitate your own. Just channel whatever feels good for you and your body, because actually your physical body is going to be the physical and emotional are really tying in together for that. In regard to the blowing the fire on that fear, on whatever it is that's blocking the way. And one thing, okay, fear is an umbrella term. What does that mean? Like this is coming at your like therapeutic energy, because like came from a book that was written by a therapist. But that whole so basically what she was saying is that fear is an umbrella term, because you can't really be in fear unless you're physically like being chased by a lion or something like that. If you're fearing something that isn't detrimental to your health and well-being at this time, it's covering something up. It's an umbrella term that is just blinding you from everything that's under it. And so when we take off this umbrella, you've got vulnerability, you've got embarrassment, you've got sadness, shame, guilt, previous pains, things of not wanting to get your heart broken again, you know, all of these things. It's not necessarily that you're afraid of the thing itself, it's that you're fearing the lack of capacity that you think you have of holding the space of whatever that is. And so like just take the idea of, you know, not wanting to get heartbroken again. It's not necessarily the process. Like, yeah, of course the process isn't enjoyable either, but it's the how you will actually be in that moment. It's this feeling of I will not be okay, even if you are, because of course you're okay. It's just that you're going through something that's heartbreaking, you know. And so there's this element of burning up that umbrella with the dragon fire, so you can actually see what's going on beneath the surface, because there are
I got a question then,
yes,
if you don't mind. So the thing I'm actually cooking up, in the sense of what I'm actually making and its ingredients and pieces, and like if we're talking about what I'm cooking up, I'm trying to create an in-person class to teach people how to access their Akashic records.
fun.
My resistance is I will be seen, which puts me up to be vulnerable and judged and criticized, and you know, people will be disappointed in what I do and whatever. And at the exact same time, I'm also afraid of not being seen and nobody shows up and it's a bust, and you know what I mean? Like I host a class and nobody shows. Like, how do you process a fear that are opposites? It's seen and being unseen at the exact same. I'm afraid of doing this, so I haven't, you know, because I've got a crystal shop that's willing, and yeah, rent the space and we'll advertise for you and all this other stuff. I haven't created it. I haven't cooked it up yet. I haven't added the ingredients because I'm afraid of being seen and unseen at the exact same time, and so I'm kind of frozen.
Thank you for sharing that, because I mean, when you think about it, that could be applied to probably a lot of things, probably more than you're even thinking of, just because it is that. It's the duality. It's both sides of the coin. It's that fear. So we're gonna just sense, feel, imagine. You don't have to do the whole breath thing right now, but sense, feel, imagine that your dragon is just blowing out that umbrella. And you've got a fan that comes in that blows the smoke away. Regardless of the words that you attach to it, the emotions are the same. Vulnerability, shame, embarrassment. There's some guilt when you think about it, because guilt of not pursuing this, guilt of the, well, if I don't do it, then I mean, I don't have to worry about any of that, even though this is something that you're meant to step into. You know, it really is meant to be a part of you. And the things that you navigate, the things that you bring forward for people. And, you know, especially out there, you were mentioning like, hey, there's nobody here at this event that is doing Akashic Records, or there was one person and they, you know, whatever. But instead of waiting on me to come, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And that was amazing. So what they're asking me, what did you learn from that experience that relates to this question? Because there was fear of being seen and also not being seen. It was this, you know what I mean? Similar experience, but now you have an actual physical experience to back that up that may or may not have been the like most enjoyable part, or what have you. But so what did you glean from that experience in relation to this question?
First of all, being seen feels a heck of a lot better than not being seen. So
Mhm.
even if you are seen and they judge you and you didn't give them the right reading, or you weren't the personality they were expecting, that felt a heck of a lot better to be in the moment, to just channel, to just do what I do, to teach, to share, to be me, than to not get to express who I am, to sit there and have no one see me, no one show up. And I sat there and I didn't get to truly express who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So in the one part, it was definitely worth it to just be seen and be like, well, you know, they're gonna, again, their stuff is not mine to carry. It's not my responsibility. If they didn't like how it read, or they didn't like the information, or didn't agree with it, or whatever, that's not, I am just the messenger. I'm just the channel,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that sort of thing. But it was definitely way better than sitting there being ignored, and person walks by and person walks by and person walks by. And yeah, that did not feel good.
I resonate with that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Oh, there's a lot of things that again, the vulnerability, like I'm exposed,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't seen until somebody said like, hey, can you do a reading for me? And I'm like, yes, by all means, sit down or whatever. Like, and then I was seen. So it was more like being exposed, but the truth of who I wasn't seen. Like I was out there, but because I wasn't performing, and I don't mean performing like, I mean like giving my gift and sharing my ability. I don't mean performing in the mental body kind of way. But it was just, yeah. Okay, so the fear of being vulnerable and being seen is way worse just not being seen, and therefore not doing the class and not, trying or whatever. I'm getting conflicting information that the fact that I said that I wasn't able to express who I am.
Mm-hmm. Aww.
Even if no one sees you, if I'm home by myself, I'm still expressing who I am, even if nobody sees it. It's just as valid, it's just as important, even if the energy of me being me without needing external validation or somebody to say, I see you, therefore it's valuable.
Yeah.
Well, this just took a turn.
Love you.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking for the external. So even if that's like you said, when I make a video, even if nobody sees it, the energy is still out there, it still exists. And that's real too. So even if I was sitting there and nobody shows up to this class that I want to, teach, my energy is still me expressing myself, even if no one sees it, even if nobody's validating it and saying, "Hey, I see you. You're good. You're good enough." Like, any of that, like
Mhm. Yeah.
it's
I,
about being
yeah.
whole, even if you
Mhm.
don't have the partner. It's about saying, like, I'm still loved, even if I don't have a romantic partner to say I love you. I'm still loved, even without that. I'm still a teacher, even if no one shows up to my class. I'm still me expressing who I am, even if there's nothing external. And I haven't done that yet. I haven't truly allowed myself to feel that yet because I'm looking for the external.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's so funny because you mentioned the whole video thing, and I was like, that popped in for me too. And it was like, this is that. It's just another experience. It's another angle. It's another layer of that. And just for those that, have no idea what we're talking about, a part of the membership earlier this year is we had this conversation around, like, I don't even remember exactly what you asked. It was something along the lines of like, do you remember what you asked?
No, at this point, no.
Yeah, you're like, I'm still processing, which is fine. It was something along the lines of like, why even put the videos out there if no one's going to watch, or something like that. And what came through the guardians of the Akashic records, they said they're like, it doesn't matter if anyone actually views it, actually sees it, because the energy of it is still there. It is still being experienced by the collective, even if the physical results or the external validation, etc., isn't physically there. You still got all of your beautiful spirit team that witnesses it. The important thing is you witness it. You get to witness yourself showing up. And even if it's like a 2-minute video, you're showing up. You're doing the thing. And I can't tell you how many times this happens to me or other people. You put something out there, diddly squat, nothing. A year later, all of a sudden it's coming up again. And it's just like, where did. And so you never know when it's going to be the time for someone to fully align with whatever that message is. And the important part here is leading into your next charm, which is the star, which landed on 2, the wolf that's howling at the moon, and the pumpkin, which is harvest. It's all about raising your voice. And suddenly I'm going to feel like I'm going to cry. But it's about raising your voice. It's about owning your power. It's everything that you've been doing. And so it's really like bringing this reading to its fullness, bringing in the harvest, the accumulation of all of the work that you've done, like really bringing it together, really bringing that to its wholeness. And the star, which I don't remember, it's wish upon a shooting star, star quality. You're a star at this thing, known or unknown, abundance incoming, and a hidden talent slash gift, which your not so hidden talent is your ability to process, to vocalize. And even if it doesn't feel like a superpower to you, just in our relationship and how it's developed over the last few years, your embodiment, your example, your voice is so breathtakingly fresh. It is so like you just get to the heart of something, and then okay, that's not the right word. I am inspired by your ability to be concise. Your ability to understand and put things into this clear perspective.
My
And
sessions are only allowed an hour, so I've trained myself. I've only got an hour with clients. It's all the insurance covers. I've got to get it done.
yeah, exactly. So like, there's just so much beauty to your voice, to the frequencies that you bring through for not only yourself but others. And every video, every baby step, every breath along the way matters. you matter. Your voice matters. You are this shining star that is radiant and just so beautiful. It's time for you to harvest yourself in that. For that self concept is coming back in again. Your mental body is bringing through not only this new adventure for like both of you to work on, like not to work on, but to experience together, but in this it unlocks everything too. It's not just a one-dimensional, one-way road with your mental body. You unlocking this with your mental body unlocks things continuously. It's a ripple effect. And so I'm super excited to see what that means because so definitely keep me updated. But what I love too is this star again shining on your voice, shining on your harvest. And then it's coming back to the sun. You know, these bright elements are really working together, and I'm seeing a trifecta between the star, the sun, and the heart that's over the moon again. And so just this accumulation of everything that's coming forward in this, and then the forward momentum of the dragonfly, the adventure of the tree and the dragon. Like I'm just seeing the dragon like flying between the leaves and the branches. Like they get small, so like it could work, but well, actually no, they don't even have to because they have really big trees out where he's at. So um but it's just everything again, and then they're showing me the cauldron now. You're cooking all of this up. This has been something that has been in development for, I mean, your whole life, really, but especially the last year. Like this whole embodiment piece. And so they told me to look at my paper. Why? What am I supposed to see? I don't know. Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't notice this. Um, when I identified the star, the sun, and the heart there, they're all like next to each other in a particular way, and I didn't realize. So it's just oh, that's what it was. The wings in the broom. They wanted me to look at the wings in the broom again. Why? Oh, okay. This may or may not pertain to future sessions, so I'm just gonna say that for anybody watching. But the broom and the dragonfly wings that are on the broom, there's an arrow pointing, you know, to the right side, to the future, letting go, moving on, flying toward things for the future. But it's pointing directly at the seed. Which again is just highlighting the harvesting and planting the seeds. So, with that being said, they want some sort of declaration of either a declaration or a mantra that is, and they want you to literally say this because it's supposed to come directly into your heart. And the key, by the way, is a heart. So it's just a little thing there. But anyway, they want you to like claim, declare, bring through some sort of mantra or something that is about this the what is being planted, being cooked up, and harvested. Like those three things, the process. Kind of bring like a wholeness to all of this. And it could be a phrase if it needs to be. Because it feels like there's a lot there.
I'm supposed to come up with this right now because the only thing I'm getting is the harvested is the embodiment. It's truly living it. Like
Yeah.
that's the end thing. But planting and cooked up.
It's whatever comes forward. You don't have to share if you aren't quite there yet.
What am I being? I don't planting.
I'm seeing the relationship thing. They want you to sense, feel, imagine. So the paper that you're writing all of these things on about, your soulmate and all of that, and yourself, they want you to sense, feel, imagine that you are planting seeds through that paper. And that could just be like an energetic thing. I'm not getting a specific purpose for that other than it bringing clarity. They're highlighting the pentacle again too, with the elements of that embodiment that you were talking about, like the process of that embodiment, and that being the cooking it up piece. Like, yes, it's the harvest, but there's a process in order to get to the harvest.
All right, I will figure that out.
Yeah, no, take your time. It's not an easy
All of this
thing,
come together.
So, at the end of these, I'm gonna pull an oracle card. Where's it? Number 2.
Number 2, partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Did you really just?
Yep, it's number 2.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
There are opportunities for connection and union at this time. Relationship growth is imminent.
Wow, really? Really?
This book always connects. Always, always, always. And you're gonna laugh at the card. Although if you don't laugh, then it'll make me no. Keeper of abundance.
Of course.
Yep. I don't know if I can. I need to pull you forward. Oh, wait. My camera is not like sturdy, stable at this time. So we're just gonna do that and then I'll send you a picture. Or maybe. Oof. I should have just turned on my ring lamp. That would be better. Super bright. There we go. Sort of, kind of. You can kind of see it.
Okay.
Yeah. In case there's any notes from the physical card itself that you're needing. Oh, there we go. Keeper of abundance. Well, I guess there we go. The sun creates enough energy in a single day to run all the machines on Earth for 1,000 years. Read that again. Okay. The sun creates energy, or enough energy in a single day to run all the machines on the Earth for 1,000 years. I'm not reading it again. But that's the universe you live in, and you are so worthy, and you are as worthy a recipient of that energy as any tree, plant, or animal. The tree of your soul is ever reaching down into the dark root system of mystery and up into the sun of abundance. True abundance isn't a plethora of things, it's a wealth of energy and resilience. It's the ability to get back up after a failure, the ability to believe in yourself when no one else seems to, the ability to shine again after the rain of trauma or crisis, and like the trees to reach ever skyward. I mean,
That was very, very fitting.
yes, I feel like that is a great representation of your year. I mean, your life, but your year. And it's everything coming together of this.
You do realize I'm gonna need to block out like a week of my life at the end of the year to even process everything that happened this year. So much happened this year.
As
To
you
even
should.
just make a celebrate and reflect back on all the things. I'm gonna need an entire week to do it.
Yeah. Heck, I'm
And
here in
we're not, I
12
mean, we're in
days.
October. It's not even done yet. It's not even done yet. So
I'm here in 12 days, 1 day for each month.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah. And you can break it up, is how I'm hearing that, over the next 3 months, or well, 2.5 months really. Um, take a day a week or something. I don't know how many weeks are left, but it's kind of, well, maybe two days a week here and there, but but yeah. So, how did this reading resonate with you?
Uh, super, super helpful. And epiphanies, eye-opening stuff that now seems obvious, but I wasn't ready to really understand, embody it, feel it. A lot of feelings. Some things I definitely need to go journal and dive into because I'm definitely feeling some ways about stuff. Like, okay, that makes sense. No, super helpful. But again, it was fun.
Right? I think so. I think it's a fun, different way to experience a reading because there's particular guidance that comes through based on where the charms are landing. So you never know. Yeah.
Yeah, this
And
is very cute. I look forward to the picture and see what else, comes through when I look at it and journal and, sit with it and
yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, so take notes from Vanessa here if anybody is still watching, because what's so important to do with these readings is really, like, not to say it this way, but get your money's worth. Pay attention and re-watch it, re-listen to it, because these readings, yes, it's the energy forecast of now, but just because it's the energy forecast of now doesn't mean that it won't also apply in the future, or that you won't glean more things. Like in the beginning, you were, sharing about the what did I call it? So Celestial Soul Canvas, which canvas was from Vanessa, by the way. I have no clue. Which I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. But so what it is it's this light language art that I channel and bring through for the individual, and there's a whole session about it. But you were sharing that you were guided to re-watch that video every month for the next 12 months. Like there's so much that you can glean from that, because we are consciously or continuously upgrading our consciousness, healing, moving through things. And just because you see something one way now doesn't mean that in a month that you're not going to see it a completely different way or get even more information. Because and the same thing goes for this reading. Like Vanessa was just saying how she is excited to look at the picture and see what else she gets, because you're still going to get stuff too. Just because these are the meanings that I channeled doesn't mean that that's it. Like, you can get your own stuff too. And so why I said to take notes from Vanessa here is because the way that you show up, Vanessa, is incredibly. You are always being present for yourself, and however that is that looks, even if it's going bowling with your inner child, or or if it's, getting down and dirty and just allowing yourself to cry for an hour or whatever it is, the attentiveness of having that cycle of, just specifically the every month for one thing. Like, the reading was 222 and you're getting utilization for over a year. Like, that's, so just using that as an example. I'm not just saying like my or our work. I'm just saying in general, when you're getting these readings, having these sessions, even if it's a free thing, you know, journal about it. Put some real pen to paper about it, or like what I like to do is I'll go outside and I'll walk and talk it out. Like, sometimes the verbal processing can be better. So anyway, the message was just really coming through heavily about really utilizing your resources, whatever those resources are, and then also updating your concept of what a resource is. because a lot of us are still in the frame of mind of our child self who did not have a lot of resources, forgetting, oh, hey, I'm an adult now. I can actually access a lot more things, especially with, the internet at our fingertips and just anything. And so it's just really about remembering your resources is a big message that wanted to come in there, because we have so many more than we think we do. And this is, I mean, it's for myself too. Like don't feel like this is just preaching, because it's for me too. But yeah, so on that note, is there anything you would like to say at the end here?
Thank you for this. This was wonderful. I really appreciate this. And again, for anybody who wants to see what it is that I do, you can just check out my website. I'll put the link in the comments, for your inner sensei. And, you know, combining the mental health with the spiritual is just kind of my take on things. So
Yeah, amazing. I love it. And thank you, Vanessa, for showing up and doing this, taking time out of your
and
day.
crying on film. You didn't tell me that was in the agenda. I did not know that would be happening.
I didn't either.
It's gonna be fun and cheerful. And it's like, yeah, but how do you hold the space for the fun, the joy? Honestly, there's some joy in uncovering even the shadow stuff, because the joy of it's not going to control me if I am aware of it. If I can change it, if I can heal it, then the joy of the freedom that comes with I just saw, a sore spot, something that needs to heal. Great, fantastic. I'm going to go dive in. I'm probably going to go cry some more. And it's going to be great with a level of joy frequency, not happiness. I'm not happy that I cry, but like the joy frequency that says, I get to expand, I get to grow. I'm unlocking a key. I can't wait to see what's behind the door. This is great. And you got to sometimes heal that, vulnerability and the shame and the shadow stuff to get to it. And you can do that with joy at the same time that you cry. You can hold both.
Yeah, we are multi-dimensional beings. We are capable of all of the things at once and more. Yeah, so again, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being vulnerable and, sharing yourself in that way, because it's really powerful when we allow ourselves to be in the emotional experience at the time that it hits. Maybe not fully going into like the full sob you might not want to go into, but still being present to your experience in that, while, being present to be seen. Like, that's really powerful. And there's something in that for you too, in your development as you journal and deepen about that, because again, it's just there's something potent about that vulnerability, and about vulnerability being our superpower. It doesn't mean that you have to cry on screen, but that's just one of the many things that makes you a real person. And the fact that you maybe weren't the most comfortable to do it, you still did it, and that's the important thing. You didn't like run off, scream, and tell me to F off. So, but yeah, and for those of you that are wanting this and are like, wow, almost 3, 4, I don't know how long it is, almost 4, no, 3 hours. Okay. The recordings are like an hour, hour and a half. Because we had
more back and forth.
Yeah, we had a lot of back and forth, which was also enjoyable. And if that's something that you are wanting, is more of a back and forth, we can talk about a price on that, because I'm not doing that for $57. But I love you. And that's a lot. But no, this is really great. I'm glad that, we were both able to do this. This was so much fun, and I look forward to seeing how this develops for you.
I will definitely be in touch. You know that.
Yes, of course. All right. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for showing up.